Shooters Connection offers products for competition shooters by competition shooters. With over 80 years of combined competition shooting experience, Shooters Connection is staffed by master and grandmaster shooters who live the shooting sports every day. We offer same-day shipping. Shooters Connection also sponsors over 100 of your matches every single year. So when it comes to finding everything you need to compete as a beginner or a seasoned grandmaster, Shooters Connection is the only name you need to know. Online at shootersconnectionstore.com.
We were laughing because Jeff is supposed to do the intro because he said he would, because we're supposed to be shorter tonight. So Jeff's like, I'm going to do the intro tonight, and then we won't talk for so long. But as soon as he hit start, he chickened out. It's like, no, I don't want to do the intro. So this is the intro. We are the Hit Factor podcast, coming at you strong from Ada, Oklahoma. Jeff's drinking some, let me guess. I think you have some Kentucky Spirit.
Oh, it's early times.
Oh, early times. Oh, another good one. Nice bottled and bond.
Yeah.
I'm a little kid tonight. I got my milk and cookies before bed.
Oh, dude, I slammed a glass of milk right before I came in here because some lady at work brought me some raw milk. She has a milk cow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I got raw milk right now. It's awesome.
So does she like just filter it through a towel or something and call it good?
I don't know. Don't care.
You just drink it raw. I love it. Raw milk's good.
Yeah. It's very
It can be
flavorful.
different. Yeah. Yep. So we are the Hit Factor. We just have Jeff and myself tonight. GM single stack
Mm-hmm.
and GM
Yeah.
single stack. Jeff, you are hot and ready training. You're finally back at it solid again.
Yeah. I still have a couple of large purchases to make to be like fully ready for the rest of the season, but I am set on a lot of things. So
What are these things you have to buy?
I still need to buy like a lot of bullets, and I still need to buy a backup gun. So I mean, so like right now, I have my gun, and I still have my cracked slide gun that technically still works. So I could take that as a backup gun, but I need to buy a gun, so I still need to do that.
Yeah, that'd probably be smart.
Yeah, so a couple big purchases left to make, but I fully plan on making those purchases.
You don't have a bullet sponsor?
No. Do you have a bullet sponsor? You holding out on me?
No. I got rid of my bullet sponsor, unfortunately. So I got to buy all my bullets now.
Which was yourself?
Yeah. It was myself.
Yeah, I'm back. Last week I started shooting. So my new schedule is I'll try to shoot twice a week. So I shoot Wednesday nights. I've done that for years. After work, I go to the range because the range is it's probably like 10 minutes from my work. It's really close.
Okay. Yeah.
So I get off work, I go to the range, I shoot for like 45 minutes, and then I pack it up and go home. Usually home by 7:30. I get off at 5:30. So
it's not bad.
Yeah. So it's quick sesh. Get in 200 rounds. So I'll do that Wednesday, and then if I'm gonna shoot a match on the weekend, which might shoot like one local, like in Ada local, and then one other club match around the state. So like I'm hoping for like 2 matches a month, and then shooting twice a week. That's the plan. So yeah. If I shoot on the weekend, like if I shoot a match, I won't shoot Friday. But if I'm not shooting a match, then I plan on shooting Friday mornings because I have Fridays off. So I'll get a Wednesday and a Friday in. I've never done that before, so I am pretty excited about that, about seeing what kind of results I'll see from that. Because frequency does a lot for me. So I'm excited to see what it does shooting wise for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think frequency trumps volume. There's a balance there.
Yeah.
Right, like frequency doesn't trump volume if you go and you only shoot 50 rounds, unless you're Jay. But
Yeah.
he's an aberration. Um,
Well, kind of. I mean, we don't really know what Jay with plenty of volume looks like. So
that's actually true. That's very true. But there's a at 50 rounds. I honestly speak personally, like 50 rounds, like I'm not gonna have enough in that for that to really like as much as I don't like it, like I'm not even warmed up after 50 rounds, right? Like
yeah,
you've shot, you've shot one set of mags, maybe depending on how many mags you take. Uh, so at the other end of the spectrum, like shooting 500 rounds and doing that all in one session,
hmm
is less valuable than two 250 round sessions, or
yeah,
three 200 or two 200 round sessions and 100 round session. Like that frequency there is value in that, and there's a balance there to try to meet, for sure.
yeah. I really like a 200 round session feels pretty good. It's like depending on what I'm shooting, it could feel like too many rounds or it could feel like not quite enough, which makes me think it's a pretty good number.
I think 200 I think 200 is a pretty good number for like your normal practice session. I think 200 is like 150 to 250. I think that's a pretty good
Yeah.
range to be in. And then I do think oftentimes there are values, like if you're close to breaking through like a plateau, or just you're at a plateau and you need to break through it,
hmm
then that's where you maybe trying, if you can get out and get some 400, 500 round sessions, that might help you break through some plateaus that you just, in 200 rounds, you just don't have the time to get through, to
Yeah.
where every once in a while maybe having a longer session could help you do that. And not everybody, I know lots of great shooters that have never shot that many rounds at one time. But for some
Yeah.
people, I think that can be pretty valuable.
Yeah, I feel like when I get up, like kind of like you were saying, over 250, close to 300, it's almost like when I play golf. Like it's not that I'm totally fatigued, but there's enough fatigue that I don't feel like I'm really getting any benefit out of it anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I play golf, and I don't play golf very often, but usually like the last couple holes, I'm like it's just a shit show. There's just enough fatigue that I can't hold the technique together. So
Yeah. I mean, it's like shooting a match all in one day, right? Like
yeah,
you kind of get to it's like the last stage, and you're just like, you're kind of, depending on how the weather is, depending on how your squad has been, depending on how your shooting has been, like the last stage is oftentimes, hey, can we get this done,
yeah,
and
yeah,
get out of here? So
yeah,
I see that. Um, but sometimes you have to get past that. Like sometimes, yeah, I do see that, and I've seen that in my own practice sessions. Sometimes, like, yeah, that 270 rounds, like 300 rounds, it's like, I'm just repeating the same thing. But then it's like, but I'm gonna keep going until I fix it. There's
yeah,
enough mental drive that it's like, no, I want to try to push past this. And
yeah.
sometimes that can be detrimental. Sometimes that can be good, and that kind of just something you have to mess with. But
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little different for everybody.
yeah,
There's a lot of different ways to approach it.
oh, for sure,
All right, so
for sure.
we're going to talk about your match, right?
Yeah, so I ran a match this weekend. Me and my buddy Brett Thomas put on a match here at my range, and just an outlaw match. It wasn't wasn't USPSA affiliated. We had an affiliated club here pre-COVID, back when my other buddy was shooting a lot, and we were having enough matches with enough frequency that we could kind of maintain an affiliation. And now I just can't, like, I can't count on that I can give a match every month, because you have to meet so many matches a year to maintain your USPSA affiliation. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a number I couldn't commit to.
Yeah.
And so that affiliation has gone, so I can't really do affiliated matches, which is fine. There's some good benefits to that, and we'll talk about that kind of. I think there are some good benefits to being affiliated, and there's some benefits to being outlaw. So I will say it was an absolute beating, this match. We had so I set up. I actually have two bays, as people know. I have two bays, and so we'll set up two or three stages per bay. They're fairly big bays, and so the way I normally do it, the way I did it this time is that I had a forward shooting area that had walls, had a couple walls and some fault lines, and you shot the targets forward of there, and then there was a rear shooting area that incorporated a lot of those targets and incorporated those walls, but it was just a separate shooting area.
Yeah.
And so it was two unique stages built on the same bay and utilizing the same space. And that in itself is challenging, because you start, like, you build one stage, your first stage, and you get it all okay. This all works fine, and that's hard enough to build one stage, and then you build another stage trying to utilize how that is set up, and so then you start needing to move your original stage, but you can't. So you got to make your original stage work and what your second stage is without ruining your original stage.
Yeah.
And that's tough. But we got it done. Part of the challenge was my wife was actually gone this weekend too, so she left Thursday, so I had the kids by myself the whole weekend. So that was
Oh.
trying to time it so I could have time to build stages and, feed the kids and bathe the kids and make sure they don't kill each other, type thing.
Wow. That sounds like a lot.
It was a busy weekend, and then we had 10 shooters, which is honestly, that's a great turnout. Like, I'm happy. I'm actually pretty happy with 10 shooters. But 7 of them were brand new. Like,
Wow.
there was me and Brett, who have lots of experience. There's an older guy who has shot a bunch of locals. I don't know how many majors he's ever shot, but he's shot a bunch of locals. There was one other guy that has shot my understanding, he shot 3 locals, and then everybody else was brand new, brand new, and is great. Like, I'm happy to have them there. They were all good, but man, that is a beating, because just you're explaining everything, every stage, and you're trying to keep everybody safe. You're trying to watch for the 180. You're trying to deal with all of that, and these people are just kind of it's just people remember their first matches, and it's deer in the headlights a little bit. And you have somebody like Brett and myself shoot, and it's like, oh dang, those people go fast, and they kind of hit stuff when they go fast.
Right. Yeah.
There were a couple of guys that I ran the clock for literally except for myself. I ran the clock for every single shooter.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of guys that, you see them go to make ready, and they're visibly shaking.
Oh yeah.
Like this, and they get even by the time they finish the stage, right? And this is not just stage one. This is pretty much every stage that they shoot.
Yeah.
They are shaking. And I had I put a 50-yard target out there, which was luckily nobody got super mad. It was kind of a deal. It's just like 150-yard is open target is at 50 yards. And I told the guys, I said, look, just plan on taking 3 or 4 shots at it. If you hit it, cool. Like
Yeah.
if you don't, no big deal. Just move on and go on. The rest of the stage had a bunch of really close papers.
No big deal.
Uh,
Just don't mind. Don't bother showing back up.
they, I was a little worried about that, but none of them took it. At least at that time, because they're so new, they don't know to expect anything different.
Yeah.
So, like, if you expose it to them on their very first match, they just think, "Oh, well, this is a possibility out here. We're gonna have to really,
Right.
really be able to aim." And luckily, Brett and I both got two. We both had really solid hits, so it wasn't like they were looking at us and like, "Well, these guys can't hit it."
Yeah.
So luckily, we had hits on it. I think I fired 3 times and had 3 hits. One was sketchy, which is why I fired 3 times. But so like I don't. Hopefully, the difficulty wasn't. I tried to make the deal. I tried to rein in the difficulty a little bit
Yeah.
on my stages because I can have some. I tend to be on the more difficult side of things, and I tried to rein it in quite a bit. I didn't use a lot of partials on my stuff, so. But it was good. It was just a beating. I mean, it was. I got home. I was just tired. I was just worn out. Luckily, I got home and my kids were napping. Half the match fees that I collected went to pay for babysitters. So, but I got to do what you got to do.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, but luckily both kids were pretty much napping when I got home, so I got to chill on the couch for like an hour and a half. So that was very nice.
Much needed, I'm sure.
Yes, much needed. And then as far as my shooting, like shooting while you're doing all of that is very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just really difficult because Brett and I were first and second to shoot on every stage. We just shot first and second, and then that way we could run and score everybody.
Yeah.
And so then you're the whole time like you kind of the stages I built. Yeah, I had a stage plan pretty much already on the ones I built because the stage, you built it. And the ones that Brett built, I didn't have as much of a stage plan on. So, you're kind of trying to do the walkthrough, but at the same time, you're asking the brand new shooters, hey, do you guys have any questions? Have you figured this out? And so, yeah, that was hard to try to shoot well. I was happy. I shot penalty free. I shot good points for the most part. I think I had 3 deltas. One was on a 50-yard target, so okay. And then a couple others sprinkled in there that, just bad shots. But no penalties otherwise. And I had 2 stages that I shot decently well. Like I felt like I stayed disciplined, and then I had a couple of stages that I didn't stay disciplined at all, and you could just tell the difference. So it was nice to have like a stage where I didn't shoot real disciplined, and then the next stage right after it I was able to kind of rein it in and shoot under control.
When you say
And
discipline, you
so
just talking about like side picture discipline, or
no, it's more of, for me, disciplined is shooting. I mean, I've kind of explained. I think I've kind of explained this, but it's where I like trust myself better. Like I don't start slapping the trigger real bad. Like I trust that I can prep the trigger on stuff and have good trigger control. And yeah, sight discipline is part of it. But it's kind of my big mantra for this was to try to be patient while shooting. Just try to understand that things take time. Like even if it's a really up close target, even if it's a 7-yard open target, there's still a certain amount of time that it takes. You don't just poke the gun at it and leave. Like it still takes a certain amount of time. And even if you give that time mentally, that doesn't actually slow you down so much. Usually you actually shoot better, but it feels like you're taking a lot of time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is that like, so it's, that we talked about with Ozarks that I just felt like I was rushing a whole lot. Like I was just trying to rush through everything. And then you end up making a whole bunch of mistakes and you don't shoot very well that way. So it was trying to convince myself to just be patient. Part of that's sight picture. Part of that's like, it takes time for the trigger to go off, right? Like your brain says shoot, and there is a slight delay whenever your brain recognizes, hey, I can shoot now, between when you actually shoot. There's a delay there.
Mhm.
It's very extremely small, right? But there is still a little bit of a delay, and you don't need to rush that. Like you can, what that delay is, you can let that delay be there, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So trying to convince myself to do that, I think that's something you probably do. Like you get into a match scenario and you almost do that naturally.
Just
Like you tend to, like you would tend to over aim more than you would to rush a shot in a match.
yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm the opposite of that whenever I get like in match stress.
Yeah, so like if I'm out of practice, like my hits won't really be any worse. Like maybe a little bit, but not really. But I'll just be way slower. Just because
Yeah.
everything's like my brain's just not working as fast. It's not lubed up, I guess, for those skills. So when I'm in practice, it's like the same stuff just happens faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't tend to slow down.
So you just go the same speed.
I mean, mentally, I feel like I have to go that speed at least, and so, but it doesn't end up being any faster.
Mhm.
Like it's not like I'm going fast when I'm doing that. I'm just making a whole bunch of mistakes. Like I'm trying to grab a mag out of my pouch way too fast, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to reload way too fast when you have 10 steps to make and you try to slam
Right.
you don't intentionally, but you try to slam like a sub-second load when you have tons of room to make that reload, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that was my biggest goal of this match, shooting wise, was just try to be patient, and I was able to do it on a couple stages. So
Yeah.
given all the distractions, I'm okay with that.
So like, we weren't really gonna get into this, but if you're shooting and you slow down, like you're extremely patient because you're not practiced up, and you do that and it's slower, but it wasn't a total shit show. Like, how do you feel about that?
You mean like mentally, what does my self-image feel about being slow but hitting stuff?
Yeah, if like you're out of practice and you like basically if you shot like I shoot when I'm out of practice, and it's like it's just slower and like that doesn't feel great, but it wasn't a shit show. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, when I'm out of practice, it is like, it's not just that it's not, for me, like practicing up doesn't mean that I just get faster. Like everything
I know, but
deteriorates.
you've shot a stage that was just like just a little too slow. Like it was just slow because you
Oh,
need to
yeah.
practice, but other than that, it wasn't a total shit show.
Yeah, I mean, to me that's incredibly frustrating because it's like I had there was no chance to win or do well at this stage. Like if you're just like 3 seconds off the pace, like you shot quote unquote
Yeah.
well, like you hit stuff and no makeups on steel, but you're just 3 seconds off the pace just because you're freaking slow. It's like, well, that's kind of pointless because you have no chance of winning there.
I will say
right? Like
that
that's mentally how I react.
that I will say that result will make you feel more like washed up old news. That's like kind of what it makes you feel like if and you show up and like it's a pretty good run, but it's just like too damn slow. Everyone else is like multiple seconds faster. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a problem. That doesn't feel good. I've felt that a lot of times in my career, for when I've been practiced up, not just like when
Yeah.
I'm like rusty and stuff. I've felt that when I'm very practiced and think I shot a stage half decent, and yeah, it's not half
Yeah.
decent.
I mean, I think everybody does that.
Oh yeah, I mean like that. You just don't lay it down super efficient every run. Even if you're shooting well,
Yeah.
every run's not going to be great. I've also had runs at nationals that didn't feel like super special, like they felt solid, but I thought, I mean, like Nash had my first stages match at nationals last year. I thought it was, I was like, yeah, it was a solid. It was a good start to the match. I was like, I'll be at like
Hmm.
90% of of the stage winner on that, but it's not nothing special. And the match finishes, and I was second at like 98.5% or something like that. I think Nils was the only one that beat me, so I don't even count that as
Yeah,
basically I
basically
won.
win.
If I beat everybody besides Nils, then
Yeah.
basically I won that stage. Uh, so like that, you just can't trust that
Yeah.
feeling, I guess, is, and that's the hardest thing to convince that's the hardest thing for me to convince myself of,
Yeah.
is that I can't trust that feeling.
Yeah. I agree. You just gotta train hard, trust the process, and then on game day, you just gotta trust that the work was put in and try to ignore those emotions.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, like I need to. My goal is, because it, even local matches, that stress gets replicated, uh, and so I'm just gonna try to find more ways this year to be in
Yeah.
competition with other people, of just so that I can get more rehearsals at that. So last year shot zero local matches,
Yeah.
just because I didn't have it. I didn't have the capacity to put them on
Yeah.
myself, and so I shot zero local matches last year, and so that's really hard if you're first, like if your competition requires practice too, I think.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Um,
Zero locals. Man, I
yeah,
wonder how many people do that.
probably not many. Well, I don't know. That's actually a good question. Hit us up if you shoot nothing but majors. We want to hear how that goes
Just
for you.
show up and lay it down at majors.
I wished I could. Obviously, that didn't work for me last year, so I don't. I need to try to not do that. I need to try to shoot some locals and get some of those bugs worked out outside of matches that I actually care about.
Yeah, I think the locals helps. I do. If
Yeah.
if nothing else, it helps you get your rhythm, like your routine, right? Like when you're in the
Hmm.
hole, like you have your mental process that starts, and it's where you go and you put your grip stuff on, make sure you got all your mags, like you get your routine and your process, and that's kind of where you build that, I think. And then when it comes to like time to perform, you know what you do. So this is you do it. Yeah. So I think it's good to
Yep.
just shoot some of those and grease that groove.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think people that shoot a bunch of majors, like they kind of get to where they don't shoot a whole lot of locals, and I think that can be good if you're
Yeah.
shooting 12 majors a year. Then yeah, you're in competition enough as is, and that's kind of where I
Right.
was a few years ago. Like I was shooting that many, so if I shot a couple locals, okay, that's fine. But then that changed where I couldn't travel and couldn't shoot as many majors, and it's taken me a little bit to readjust to, okay, I'm not.
Mhm.
It's taken me a while to figure out how to try to perform, and still trying to figure out how can I perform with my training and prep and matches looking
Yeah.
different. Having
Yeah, you're
kids,
having to,
basically. How do I perform
yeah,
after
you're
having
trying to
kids?
find a new thing that works. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. But the other conversation that I think is interesting around this is it was an outlaw match, and so with all of the, I don't know if there's a big, but there's a bit of a push and a big of a murmur going around, like, is it worth being affiliating with USPSA? Like, what value do we have by being affiliated with
Yeah.
USPSA, other than we get to pay them uh, activity
Yeah.
fees? So I think it's $3 per shooter. Like if you're an affiliated club, I think it's last I remember it was like $3 a shooter, which pays for classifier system and all of that sort of stuff. So I think there's pros and cons to both. One of the nice things that I was able to do with being an outlaw match is I just created 4 divisions because and ended up with people that are brand new, they don't know what their division they need to go in or anything. So I just created 4 divisions that would cover any gun that anybody brought. So that was open. So basically, if somebody showed up with a now they have factory guns out now with comps on the slide, right? So they have, or magwells or something like that, so that we can put them in open, limited, which ended up being a lot of people were in limited just because they had their Glocks. They had like 2 or 3 mags, and it's like, yeah, just load your mags up. You'll shoot in limited. That's perfectly fine. I had a slide mounted optic division. It's just because there's a lot of slide mounted optic guns out, and then I just had a low cap irons division. So if somebody, there was a girl that actually showed up and was shooting single stack, and I was shooting single stack. So then we shot in there. And that was it. Those are the 4 divisions that will cover for a local match. That will cover anybody that wants to shoot. I did not allow PCCs because this is a handgun match. It's a handgun sport. PCCs can get their own sport. We don't need you. We don't need rifles at pistol matches.
Jeez.
Is that controversial?
I don't know if it's really even controversial. I think you're just got a stick up your ass.
I feel like I could. There's a chance I could run a successful presidential campaign based on that topic alone.
I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
maybe not.
I would love for you to try.
That's okay. Though. Yeah, I probably wouldn't even get the requisite number of signatures. But that's okay. But there were lots of things that we could do. Coaching while they're running a stage, which is a level 1 exception that you can kind of do it, but you don't see that really at level 1s. It was nice that we can do stuff like I was able to just say, hey, you cannot shoot this steel. You have to shoot this target from this spot, which saves me a bunch of setup time. Like I could have done all the setup to set up a couple of walls and a couple of barrels to block it so that this was the only position that you could shoot it from. But in an effort to make setup easier and quicker, I could just say this is the only place where you can shoot this from. And so, there are benefits there to that. I don't have to run a classifier, which is honestly,
is that a
nice.
Requirement?
Like if you run a level 1, you have to have a classifier at it, as far as I know.
Huh. Okay. I have no idea. I don't run matches.
Yeah. Somebody may correct me on that. That was my understanding, and maybe that was a thing, maybe it's not a thing, but I think it is that you have to have a classifier. But maybe not. I could be wrong. The reason why, my understanding, the reason how it used to be a thing, because that was how they got their activity fees. You paid an activity fee for every classifier score that got submitted.
Right.
This was pre-practice score, because that was the only scores they ever saw was through paper, right? Any other score that they didn't get through classifier, they didn't know anybody shot anything. Once practice score become a thing and you're an affiliated club, they just go look up your club, and whoever shot the match, however many people shot the match, that's what you have to pay for your. At least that's my understanding of how that works. Again, somebody may correct us on it. It did allow us to be a little bit more lenient on this. This may sound terrible. We had 7 brand new shooters. there were a couple of guys that we stopped for
Mhm.
DQ issues, and at a USPSA match, I have to send them home. At being an outlaw match, which doesn't like we DQ people and send people home as a safety precaution to
Yeah.
keep people safe. But at the same time, if you DQ like somebody who's a brand new shooter and they break the 180 and you just DQ them, stop, go home, like they don't get a chance
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
fix it. Like they have to go home and maybe a month later, if they have another match in a
Yeah.
month,
Or
because
they
where
don't
I
come back.
live, or they just don't come back, right? Like I mean, that how often has that has happened? Tons of times, right? Because they're embarrassed or they're mad or whatever.
Yeah.
And so being outlaw, it does give you a chance to stop them, fix it, and say, okay, shoot
Mhm.
this again. And so that is something that you can do as an outlaw
Yeah.
match. So that's a positive thing. Um, to me, those are a lot of the positives of doing an outlaw match. Being affiliated with USPSA, there's a lot said that it's all you get out of that is a classification system, and the classification system isn't great. Like it's flawed. It's very flawed. It's actually pretty. It's for the most part, it's fairly accurate as far as identifying who good shooters are. Like it does a pretty good job of that for the most part. Um, it's very flawed. I'm not saying it can't be better, but you do get more from USPSA than that. You do get like using their rule book, using their scoring system. One, it makes it easier versus trying to come up with your own scoring system or
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
own rules. Uh, like they have done that, and the other thing that it does for you as a match director, as an RO, if somebody is if they are do need to be there is a safety violation, they do need to be DQ'd. It doesn't end up being on you. It's simply a look,
Yeah.
here's the rule. This is the rules that we're running this match under. Here's the rule. I'm sorry, I have to DQ you. And it doesn't have to be a me versus them. It's just these are the rules. And these are rules we have to abide by. And so either if you're going to run outlaw, you're either just going to steal their rule book, the USPSA rule book, and just say we're going to use their rules and use their intellectual property and run a match based off of that, or we're going to take the time to come up with our own rule book, and most likely it's probably not going to be super complete. Like it's not going to
Yeah.
be super comprehensive if you try to come
Yeah.
up with your own rule book. And
You also get
so
a new division every other year.
you do get that. That is the thing. Uh, So that to me that is a bit of a drawback. I only had 4, and a lot of people they didn't sign up online because they're like, I have no idea what division I'm supposed to be in. I was like, yes, that's no problem. We can put you in one. And honestly, it doesn't matter. There's
Yeah.
10 of us total. It's not like you're just competing. You're just competing. And if you have no idea what the different rules and different guns, how they compare against each other, it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
too much at that point. But you go ahead and have them. But I mean, yeah. So there's that. I think there's plus and minuses to being outlaw and to being USPS affiliated with USPSA. If I had a club that met 10 months out of the year and we had a big enough club where there were other people that could help run it and help do and all that sort of stuff, I would have an
Yeah.
affiliated
Yeah.
club. Um, Personally, that's how I would do it. But there are some advantages to just doing outlaw.
Yeah. I mean, Outlaw gives you some freedom. All of my locals, like here in Ada locals are just little outlaw matches, and they run them on 3 different weekends. Like you can shoot 2 to 3. If there's a fifth Saturday, you get 3. Because we have one guy that he runs a USPSA style outlaw match every fifth Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs a few of them a
Yeah.
year. And then we do like a first Saturday and a fourth Saturday, I think. But I mean, those matches, they change every few months. So yeah, that's one of the deal about outlaws. Like you don't really know what you're showing up for sometimes because one week it might be 22 only pocket carry steel
Oh,
challenge,
geez. Oh, wow.
and the next time you show up and like that was an actual one. It's pretty fun, but
So they're just
the next
running
time you show up,
some
it's
sort of match every first and fourth Saturday.
yeah. Well, yeah. One of them is like that. They'll like change it every few months. They'll kind of change it around. It'll be 22s only, or it'll be pistols only, no rifles.
I like that.
It'll be no holsters. Everybody starts low ready, no matter what you're shooting. It'll be, and then one of them is like steel challenge, but every other month it's I-Core.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I guess that's both a pro and a con of Outlaws, that it could be a completely different match every other month, and you don't really know what you're showing up for. I just, like, around here, I just show up with the same setup every time, and I'm like, can I shoot this? And they're like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Have they ever told you no?
No.
Oh.
No, if it's like, because there's lots of times it'll be like, okay, it's 22 only, concealed carry, steel challenge. And I'll be like, well, can I shoot my 40 from the holster? Like, yeah, sure.
Who conceal carries a 22?
One of the guys locally, he does, or he did. I don't know if he still does. He used to carry like 3 of them.
One
Yeah,
is
you know
none?
those little tiny 22 revolvers?
Yes.
The really tiny ones.
Yes.
Yeah, he would carry like 3 of those, like 2 in the belt and 1 in his shoe or something. Yeah, so we shot those. Dude, those are pretty fun. And then he was carrying those little Beretta Bobcats for a while. He would carry like 2 or 3 of those. Yeah, those are cool too.
So since one guy carries tiny miniature 22s, y'all are gonna have a match dedicated solely to miniature 22s.
Hey, he's the one out there setting everything up. He can run whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, it sounds like a fun club. Honestly, like it's a club that's just having like activities.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just there's just always something to shoot. They're pretty consistent. Like you can go shoot multiple weekends every month.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I still really want to put on some NRL 22 matches with like a bonus carry gun side stage, like pistol side stage. But it's just another match to put on another weekend, and so maybe I'll get it done at some point. Actually, I'm short. I'm waiting on some mags for my 22 rifle to come in stock. I've only got one mag, and so that would be it. I need at least one more mag. So
yeah, hard to do much with one mag.
Yeah, I think those those matches are like, I think you need to be able to have 15 rounds for a stage. But
yeah, I've never shot one.
We did not finish this in 30 minutes.
No, I told you.
I tried.
You talk too much.
Look, I tried.
You talk too much.
I tried. I really did.
You get going and You just go.
I know.
That's why you're so great at
I
podcasting,
know.
Jeremy.
I don't know if we would call it great. It is what it is.
Okay, finish things out. Today's episode is still brought to you by Shooters Connection. So thank you, Shooters Connection, for sponsoring today's show. Use the link in the description to go to Shooters Connection website and purchase everything for your shooting needs. Shooters Connection sponsors a lot of matches for USPSA and all the shooters around the country. So they're a big supporter of the sport. The company is run by people that have shot or do shoot competitively. They're doing same-day shipping, and most likely they have what you need is if it comes to they have a lot of gun parts. They got all your pasters, targets, everything you need to get started shooting. So go check them out, shootersconnection.com. Use the link. Second, Patreon shout out from J Headland Shooting. Shout out to my boy Daniel Hughes with Recoil Built on Instagram. Check him out for all your custom foam insert needs. Awesome products and extremely secure designs. Nice. Damn, that's a good shout out.
Yeah, I actually need to get that. I need to get some foam cutouts, some custom foam cutouts, like for my business guns. I've been slacking on that front. Man, there's some really cool cases out there nowadays that people like do, and I need to get on that. I just haven't.
Yeah, you need to start doing like the custom built boxes for your builds, dude.
Like the wooden ones?
Yeah, so I used to follow this guy on Instagram that actually made handmade tobacco pipes.
Yeah.
I think I still follow him, but his wife would make a custom box for every pipe that he made, and then they would ship them together. It was pretty cool. Team effort on stuff like that.
I mean, that'd be great if my wife would do that, but unfortunately, it would I don't know if I can make as much money making wooden boxes as building guns. And then the problem is I intend for my guns to be used and shot, not just like stored and displayed in a box. So then you spend all this time and you make a really nice box, and I have the woodworking skills. I could do that. And that'd be cool and all, but then it's like, what do you do with the box after you actually, once you start carrying the gun and shooting the gun, then you just got this box, and it's just, what do I do with this thing? You just throw
What do you mean? What do you do? It's a custom built box from Jeremy Reid. You cherish it forever. It could be an upgrade for you. It could be a feature on your list of things that you offer. Custom built box. Extended wait time is 18 months.
You know,
for that.
I'll be honest, like the clients, and this, I shouldn't say, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. It's too late. I shouldn't say things like that.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
I won't make you.
Yeah. That'll go on the Patreon. If the Patreon page on the Discord, I'll say what I was gonna say on there.
Oh, okay.
Secrets.
Okay.
When do we shoot against each other next? Is it Area 3?
Yeah.
So is it just Area 3 and then Single Stack Nationals and IPSC Nationals? Did you sign up for that one?
I'm signed up for IPSC. I can't sign up for.
Oh yeah, Iron Sight Nationals.
USPSA.
Yeah. You can't sign general admission or general signups for that isn't till July, I think. That's great.
I think it's like late June. I think it's like June 22nd or something.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that makes somewhere like that.
Yeah, but yeah,
I find that incredibly frustrating.
For more matches before Area 3. I'm gonna go shoot some more matches, but
I have Wyoming Governors. I have Wyoming Governors match in July before Area 3. Oh, and I have the Clovis match. I have this match in Clovis the week before Area 3. You could come shoot that. You can stay at my house.
I could. I probably won't. No, I won't. I can't do that.
Whatever.
It'd be fun though. You tried.
I tried.
Okay, well that was a good 30-minute recording.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys made it through this. This actually is one of our shorter podcasts, so I'm happy for that. So that's good. And it's before 10 here, so we should be able to get to bed and be able to work out and not affect that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
That's it. Peace.